All right, Marfoogle TV live in 3, 2, 1. We're going to watch a Russian robot faceplant here in 2 seconds. Well, you made it to Marfoogle news. We're gonna take the house down. We're gonna do it right now. I tell you, well, you made it to All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. All right, we're going to go over this video. We're going to get right into the news. We have some really crazy stuff. I believe, I don't see, and I could be wrong, I don't see anybody else looking up the very simple thing I did to make a connection to Operation, Southern Spear. I'm sure some of you are going to do it right now. It is absolutely crazy. Nobody's talking about this. So we'll talk about that. Of course, everybody's wondering if they are about to go into Venezuela and start a massive war. But first, let's start it off on a positive note. And this is pretty funny. Again, they had triumphant music playing. Russia's first AI-powered robot walked on stage to triumphant music, took a few steps, and then immediately face planted. Let's watch a short clip of this, and I'm going to mute this just in case here for a second. Let's see here. Oh, and watch this. So this is really cool. If we ever have anything like this, and if you guys want to watch this video yourself, just go to our website, marfooglenews.com, and you will actually find a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we have here today, including this video. So I'm going to go to this first one right here and check this out. And of course, they picked, by the way, I think they picked the worst picture if you actually think about it. This is Putin doing a prayer signal, but of course they use it in the sense of that he's humiliated. Kind of messed up to use that picture if you ask me. But anyways, let's see this. All right, so this is Russia's first human-like robot. And there's actually no sound, so that's perfect. Okay, so check this out. This is what they just did a press conference, did this huge release. I'm going to zoom in here so you can absolutely see this. Good job, guys. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. Check this out. Look at that. We have to, somebody, and this is, I'm going to call this out to the Foogle fam. Somebody, please put funny music to this or Benny Hill or something, and then send it to me. I will play it on the show tomorrow. All right. That is how we are going to start the day off with Russian failure. And you'll see very soon we are going to hope that they fail at everything because it is getting absolutely crazy. All right, we will actually talk about the rest. When we get back, we will talk about Operation Southern Spear, which, holy crap, if this is anything related to the other one, then we have something to look quickly forward to. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. Hold on. Let's see if I can. There we go. go. All right, surprisingly, that was way harder and so smooth, too. Like, like me in high school, when I was like, hey, you want to go out with me? And they were like, why are you talking to a locker? Anyways, let's get right into it. Let's bring in my co-host, internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Fine. Hope everybody can hear me better. I think on the last show, my mixer was off, and we were on a different mic, so it didn't sound good.
Yeah, so for those that were basically saying that his mic did not sound the same, it was because it was his MacBook and not his regular mic. So I'm glad that we figured that one out too. All 3 days on Marfoogle News, we had like catastrophic, delays or problems or whatever. So thank you guys for your patience and being awesome and supporting independent people that are not professionals. So, all right, let's get into the next story. Dex, do you want to talk about the Chinese astronauts returned from space station after delay blamed on space debris?
Well, yeah, that was quick, right? Like we were just talking over the last few days about them being stuck, and I guess stuck isn't, when we think of stuck, I guess we think of, Boeing stuck, where you're there for, 8 months, 9 months, however long it was, but apparently they were only there for a few days. So they did return. The Chinese astronauts returned from the nation's space station Friday after more than a week's delay. Because the return capsule they had planned to use was damaged, likely from being hit by space debris. The team left their Shenzhou 20 spacecraft in orbit and came back using the recently arrived Shenzhou 21, which had ferried a three-person replacement crew to the station. So apparently the crew that is there now doesn't have a ship to leave on. So I guess the original return plane was scrapped because the window in the Shenzhou 20 capsule had tiny cracks, most likely caused from the impact of space debris. So they did send them home. They just sent them home in the other ship that had arrived.
So then why did they even have to wait a week if they had a ship there that could have just, it was already parked there? I mean, they're acting like this is a parking lot that you pay parking and you go, oh, well, I guess we could take the Jag.
Yeah, I think the plan, though, wasn't to have astronauts there without a ship to come home. And now they're in the scenario where they actually have astronauts there with no ship to come home. So, the original three were there with their original ship. The next three showed up with their ship. So the original three should have left with their first ship, leaving the other three there with a ship should they need to leave at any time. Now they can't. So the three that are there are stuck with a broken ship, waiting for another ship to show up.
If anything that they tell us is true, and the reason I say this, if you're new or not super familiar with our community, we question everything, and the reason why is we've been lied to for so long and so many times. But a lot of people have questions about everything, going back to the moon landing in itself. The fact that they literally are telling us we are trying to get the technology to go when we supposedly went with a computer the size of a birthday card in the Hallmark aisle. That was, how big the computer was that landed on the moon, supposedly. But we can't do it again? Like, it's crazy. And then, obviously, Buzz Aldrin and others that have been... Buzz Aldrin specifically, am I saying the wrong guy's name? Whatever one has been coming out and saying repeatedly, jokingly, like, we never went. It's like... It's why we question things like this. If this is true, it's really crazy to think about that they have ships going back and forth up to space and sitting on some sort of space station up there. And China now has this ability. The International Space Station always had a crew of people up there, but now they have their own station, which we know nothing about. There is no public information of what's actually going on up there besides who's there and then some of the little pot experiments that they're doing up there. But other than that, they can be completely discreet and not tell us anything they're doing. They said that it was vital to their national security. So that space station is most likely a weapon. So it is important to know, and that's when you really think, like, what does intelligence know in the United States or other countries? Did somebody sabotage that crewed vessel? Did they mean for those three to perish? Did it unexpectedly survive those little strikes? Were those strikes from a satellite, a mile away that they have that are purposely meant to destroy space debris or something, right?
was that a laser beam in space that the United States Army has or something? We don't know. But what we do know is all of a sudden they're home. That's pretty quick. And that it tells you also, Dex, that they put a really big emphasis on not being embarrassed. And we've actually talked about this when there's a fight between Xi Jinping and Trump. This is something really to think about, is that, Xi Jinping does not like being humiliated in any way, and he's hypersensitive compared to many countries. Like it matters there because of their heavenly mandate. If there's a mistake or even bad weather, if there's a tornado that kills thousands of people, that is what the public actually looks at that under their heavenly mandate and says, hey, this is our leader's fault. This is this is Xi Jinping's fault. This is us getting bad luck because we have a bad leader. So it's very important for him to not have these kind of stupid things happen. Whereas Boeing and everybody else, they're just like, one day without accident. Oh, reset it. No, Terrence just hit his head on something. Oh, Bob actually just hit his head changing the number. Oh, Steve died putting up a new number system. So, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. By the way, thank you so much, ACAM. We've got Michelle Raven. We've got Tammy Guzman. Thank you so much. We have M. St. G. Wonderful members. Thank you, mods. Bobby Sue. Thank you, J-Pass, Nacho Man, Randy Sandwich. My favorite screen name ever. And then, of course, we have Cage Crow, Griff, and so many more awesome folks. Going back a little further, Todd Brown, John Doe, Stephen Free, Sharon Rashina, lots of new names. So thank you guys and welcome. By the way, Ananda's mom, thank you for subscribing. Stephen McMahon, thank you for the super, says, can't stay up, love y'all, stay salty. Thank you so much for even just popping in before. And then Tasha, thank you for becoming a member. And also Zippy Moons, aka James Washington, thank you as well for making that jump. All right, Dex, let's talk about China's new aircraft supercarrier challenges U.S. dominance.
Well, yeah, this is all the talk of the Pacific right now. So the Fujian and its strike group represents a strategic game changer that will bring Beijing closer to its goal of eroding the U.S. maritime primacy in its backyard. So China's efforts to blunt the American maritime power in the Pacific, a region the United States has long considered its domain, obviously received a major boost this month with the official launch of its third and most advanced aircraft. The 80,000-ton supercarrier, which can accommodate 60 aircraft and will be accompanied by as many as 10 warships, will dramatically narrow the naval capability gap between the U.S. and China, according to American, Japanese, Taiwanese, and Chinese analysts. So everybody is pointing to this as a big deal on China's part. So it can launch 3 aircraft at the same time. I think what's important, if you look at this map, the approximate route followed by Chinese older carriers during their joint drills, and think about how this will potentially add to that. And I think what we're on the verge of seeing is, we know that China has been building up checkpoints and bases along the way at other islands so that they can expand beyond just the South China Sea. So this map that just shows where they just pretty much patrol the South China Sea, the Philippines, Japan, and head out in the Pacific just a little bit before coming back in. That is going to change as their naval platform grows greater and has longer cruise distance, and they start to develop the refueling and supplying positions in other locations at other islands, as well as other countries in like South America, where they've been building a lot of relationships and making it easier for them to potentially expand. I mean, like, the US, we have primacy across the globe. We've got so many ships, but it's not that we have the ships. We have the infrastructure to support those ships. We have the ports and the docks and the locations with food and fuel and everything to keep resupplying those ships all around the globe. That's what has to be in place for somebody to have that type of supremacy across the water. And they don't have it yet, but I think that's next. That's what's coming next now that they've got this ship.
And Dex just made an amazing point. So they don't have it yet, but what they are doing, they are light speed. They put investment money, and this is, some of you may remember this, but obviously I covered this before Any media outlet was calling these bases, right? They said that this was probably an environmental thing at first. They said, oh, they're probably drilling for minerals or for oil. That, these islands, again, they made islands out of nothing. They took, if you look at the map here, they actually took the dirt. So in some of the areas where, it was only a few feet of water, they dredged with special boats, dredged all of the sand and everything up above, and just kept piling it up with these special vacuum ships. They literally have these vacuums that go to the seafloor, vacuum it, and then spray it out in an area until there's so much land that they could start building on. They made their own islands. Now, this is very important because in many of these areas where you have the ability to do so, where you don't need 300 feet deep of ocean to do it, you need a couple feet, they can essentially make a forward operating base anywhere that has these conditions. And that's exactly what they've done here. The U.S. have always had these islands, and this is an incredible point to point out, you guys. We have covered in the last 6 months, they are revamping and re-cleaning all of these islands that we used during World War II. They were overrun with jungles. Some of them were completely abandoned, straight out of Fallout the show. That's what some of our bases and some of our islands with runways looked like. You had some runways that were completely covered with foliage and trees. In just the last year and a half, they have now cleared those off and completely revamped them. You're talking going from, it's like a before and after on one of those build a family a house shows. Like they've even done the landscaping on these places, which is just insane. So if you think about that, what Dex just said is an extremely important part of war. They need places to refuel. They need places to take off and land because they are going long distances. That is what it takes to go to war with the U.S., which they never had. They never had the ability to make this. And I might have forgot, they have invested this ginormous amount of money into making those dredging ships, those vacuum ships that take the dirt, into doubling or even tripling the speed of them. What does that tell you? I mean, we're talking about giant amounts of billions of dollars to invest and invent a dredging ship that can make islands like that. What do you think they're doing that for? Do you think they're just doing it to expand and build housing out in the ocean? Again, when this was getting put together, nobody knew anything. 2020, I think it was, or 60 Minutes, flew a plane over when they first started figuring out that this was a forward operating base. And China was like, you must leave now. This is Chinese territorial waters. When 2 years before that, it was international waters. So they, of course, flew over and said, screw you, and got the footage. And it was, of course, of this. All of us in this community knew that these were forward operating bases, but they just played stupid, or China was paying certain media publications or owned chunks of it, and they gave them their official statement, and you don't bite the hand that feeds you. They said, no, this is a mineral thing, or we're digging for oil. When in reality, they were making forward operating bases to attack the U.S. That's my opinion. What's yours? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you, Rochelle Cooley. I appreciate. Thank you for gifting out 5 badges to the rest of the Fugel family. I super appreciate that. Thank you. I don't know if you're here, Ilea. Thank you so much for texting me. I forgot to text you back. So thank you, and appreciate your letting me know I had crazy hair last night. Stephen McMahon, thank you again. I appreciate that. All right, Dex. In a second, we're going to go over the China warns Japan. But first, I do want to remind you guys, make sure to go over to EMP Shield, especially right now. You, of course, have that Veterans Day sale, which, again, this is the largest sale they've done in 4 years. You know that this affiliate has been with us for a long time. If you're new, we don't just flip willy-nilly a bunch of affiliates. We don't have a third-party multi-channel network picking our products every single day and rotating them out with stuff we don't care about. These are all things we believe will save your life or make your life comfortable through a disaster. So understand, we probably could make a lot more money if we just chose whatever product everybody's buying, but we don't. We buy we again represent these companies because not only do we buy them ourselves, but we believe in them and we think that they are actually going to save lives. It is, I have talked to many YouTubers, including some that you probably recognize and bigger YouTubers that were so afraid to do affiliates because they just felt scummy about it. Well, I tell you what, it does feel scummy doing affiliates unless You believe that they are going to help people and they are getting a fair and awesome deal. This, I told you guys not to buy it all month. And that's not good for us, but it is good for you. When you have affiliates, you want people to buy it all the time, every day. But I told you guys to wait because I knew that November, Black Friday, and the Veterans Day sale were happening. So I told you guys to wait even weeks. So if you guys are waiting, this is the time to get it. This will protect you against EMP blasts from adversaries. This will protect you against a local EMP blast from a backpack device. This will also protect you against a Carrington level event from the sun. So whether we have a natural event or we have an adversarial event, you will be able to get home to your family to bug in or get out to bug out. It will allow your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, generators, modems, Starlink system now. They just brought out a plug-and-play system that just plugs in the back and then into the wall. Again, go and check it out, marfooglenews.com/EMP. Make sure to utilize that code MARF because that is their 25% off on top of our grandfathered in $50 off per device. So you're getting, if you get 3, you're going to get $150 from us and then 25% off of the entire thing, or up to. So make sure to go check it out, marfooglenews.com/EMP, and definitely the time to do it if you've been on the fence. All right. And I hope you guys appreciate the affiliates that we have. I know a lot of you may even skip them or something. We appreciate that you guys do end up supporting us. And I know a lot of you have EMP shields on your stuff and feel better about having it. So thank you. Dex, let's talk about China warns Japan of crushing defeat over Taiwan as they escalate their tensions.
Yeah, look, this tit for tat between them verbally is just
0 to
continuing
60
to escalate. Yeah. So this we reported, I guess, a day or two ago about the prime minister, the new prime minister in Japan, making some comments about, supporting Taiwan and going against China. Well, China is now jumping out on Friday today saying the military sharply escalated rhetoric on Friday, warning Japan it would suffer a crushing defeat if it attempted to intervene in Taiwan. The statement follows the Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's remarks that China's attack on Taiwan could create a survival-threatening situation, prompting a military response from Tokyo or Japan, which is what we covered the other day. So the words of escalation are going back and forth between these two. They've got, no love lost for one another, especially going all the way back to World War II. There's obviously tension, not only from that and from the relationship, but also there's contested islands, even with Japan, that stretch all the way down by Taiwan. And so it's in Japan's, interest to not see Taiwan be taken over by China, because that puts China closer to the islands that are part of Japan's territory, or at least their claimed territory. And Japan also has territory that it's disputing with Russia too, for that matter.
Now, when you have Japan and China, obviously they have a huge history. Japan was, they were invading China when World War II started for us. When they hit us at Pearl Harbor, that was because we did an oil embargo. We were doing business with China, and we wanted to continue doing business with China. So we and other allies essentially stood up to Japan and said, hey, none of us are going to sell you oil. It set them at they only had 2 years left of reserves, and it basically screwed them because oil was used by almost all of their military. I mean, tanks, everything back then. They needed oil for their war, just as we in previous wars needed metals, or even had quarters made of different stuff because we needed that metal. They needed gas and fuel and oil, and we cut that from under them. So that is when they attacked Pearl Harbor. So when you look at these things, you understand that Japan does not play. Even though they've been a self-defense country all this time, that is because they went basically a full 180 from what they were. They were invaders. Japan, again, I'm so happy. I am so happy. And if you're Japanese out there, I not only respect the Japanese people, but we absolutely know that you are not the ones to have on be on the bad side. You guys are a worthy opponent, and many World War II vets that I talked to say the exact same thing, that they respected the Japanese, that they were tough as nails. So I am glad they're on our side this time, but when you have these words exchanging, understand that they are now exchanging words. You have Israel and Iran. You have North Korea and South Korea. You have Russia and Ukraine, you have Venezuela and Guyana, you have Japan and China, China and the Philippines, the U.S. and China, all of these different interconnections, and all of our adversaries have now partnered up. So if you don't think World War III is happening, I would say, just wait. Don't hold your breath, because it's going to be a crazy, wild one. And it's not the end of the world. It's the beginning of a new one. U.S. launches Operation Southern Spear, unveiling new robotic fleet to target cartels. First, I want to thank Domenico Luvara. Thank you, and keep up the great work you do. Marf, Dex, and Mods, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm going to pull up something. I'm going to go over to the thumb here, and you can, of course, pop into chat. I'm going to pull up what I looked up today, and I was pretty surprised to see, and I don't really see too much talking about it, and I'm sure that is going to change by tomorrow. I just assume, I don't know, I feel like if I'm putting this out there, it's going to be talked about by tomorrow. So I'm going to go to Grok here, and I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to go back to full screen here. All right, and I'm going to say, what famous, this is the question I did, what famous military operations had codename Spear in them? And the first one that pops up, or it should pop up. So watch this. This is pretty telling, and I'm pretty sure that maybe this is either a direct threat or it is it's something that they thought people wouldn't connect. All right, Operation Neptune Spear. So this is, and remember, there's all sorts of different code names we've covered over the years. That was when U.S. Navy SEAL Team 6 did a raid on Osama bin Laden's compound and took out Osama. So Operation Neptune Spear was taking out Osama. We've been talking nonstop about a possible mission to take out Maduro, and they're naming this Operation Southern Spear. Did they do that on purpose just to write up in their face? But what's funny is nobody's talking about this. I thought, what does the code name mean? We in this community always ask, what does this word mean? Does it have a weird background? Because when they do these code names, usually they have some meaning. Dex, the first thing you said is I get this one, but why Neptune Spear for taking out Osama, right? Sometimes they just don't make any sense. But when you look up the meanings of Neptune, it might start to make a little more sense. Dex, what did you think about when you saw this?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, anytime they put something out about what's going to happen in Venezuela, we got to pay attention, because we know that, Maduro's days are numbered if the U.S. gets its way. That's, at the end of the day, I think that's ultimately the game here, is to remove Maduro from power and install a, more democratically and Western aligned leader, so that, things can become, or Venezuela could potentially become an ally to the U.S. instead of an adversary, which is what it is right now, since it's aligned so heavily with China and Russia. And it's, obviously full of riches, full of an opportunity for those countries to, build upon. And the U.S. would like to not see that happen. So I totally understand why strategically it makes sense to not have Maduro there. So yeah, anytime you see these operations, like it was announced late last night from Pete Hegseth, Operation Southern Spear, and of course they're just saying, oh, it's just a robotic fleet to target the cartels. No, it's probably a robotic fleet to take out Maduro.
Yeah, and they're not saying that this is to take out Maduro. They're saying that this is a robotic fleet, but the name is eerily similar to one of the most famous, take out a country, or take out a group's leader, and a group specifically, a terrorist group. And think about this: this is now, Maduro is now attached, or potentially being said that he's one of the leaders of the narco-terrorist group, which is now labeled. So them, enabling it, was this a short-sightedness? Did they just look up the code names of previous missions and go, you know what, let's name it something, Neptune Spear, let's name it Southern Spear. And they thought maybe civilians just wouldn't look it up or something? I don't know. But that seems kind of blatant, like they're about to take out the leader spear, like, putting a head on a pike kind of thing, which, what do you guys think? Well, I mean, I'm not trying to take credit as like I caught something so amazing. I think it was so obvious. Like, I'm surprised more people aren't talking about this. You might only hear it here. I don't know. Obviously, everybody's talking about them possibly taking out Maduro, but the name of this operation being so close to the operation that took out what's his face? And just like that operation we have seen in the recent history in this last year, where they do like a drill or this op, and then really it's a surprise op, like the stealth attack of Iran's nuclear sites. That was, a bunch of stealth bombers were flying overhead, and everybody goes, it's just a drill. But 2 of those bombers separated from the rest. The rest went down and did a distraction. Well, the 2 went and were fully fueled all the way to the nuclear sites and took them out. So what is actually going on right now is the new robotic fleet going to take all of the focus. They're going to put this big, sea robotic fleet out there. Venezuela is going to put all of their intelligence efforts on that, and then they're going to, send a rocket or a Tomahawk in and take out Maduro. I don't know. But one thing I do think is, this is so blatantly obvious. Like, how is this like even named this? Or is this a tongue-in-cheek like threat to him? Like, it's a robotic fleet. Because knowing that Venezuela is going to go, it's called Southern Spear, like Neptune Spear. I mean, their top generals in every country, including Venezuela, they study our military. They study our military operations. That's part of, in military school, they go over these operations. And we go over operations that other countries have done. It's just like a football team sitting there and looking at previous videos of games and going, look at what they did here. Look at what they did here. They study the enemy. They study the opponent. And that is exactly what we do all the time. So there's no question in my mind that this is either an operation to take out Maduro and they're secretly hiding it under the robotic thing, or 2, this was a super blatant but also subtle super threat towards Maduro. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Put which one do you think it is, or if you have your own opinion about it, let me know what you think. Have you heard anybody else talking about Operation Southern Spear and relating it to Neptune Spear? I would love to hear it. Has anybody else said that before? If so, then I'm an idiot. But again, I'm an idiot, so I shouldn't be seeing that so visibly and obvious. All right, and then Dex, let's talk about Iran seizes Singapore-bound oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. Remember, Strait of Hormuz has always had significance in our community. Feel free, chat, to tell people why. Dex, do you want to go into what this is?
Yeah, earlier today, the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Agency said it had received a report of an incident 20 nautical miles east of UAE's Khohar Fakan, where Iran has seized a Marshall Island flagged oil tanker sailing from the United Arab Emirates to Singapore. So U.S. officials told the press later this afternoon, the tanker had made a sudden course and began heading towards Iranian territorial waters. British maritime security firm Abre noted earlier today, and Abre said the tanker reported 22 nautical miles east of UAE and had earlier been approached by 3 small boats while transiting the southbound through the Strait of Hormuz before later deviating its course in the Gulf of Oman. So, yeah, a big deal in the sense that Iran has taken over a oil-bound ship, a UK ship. It's on its way to Singapore, and this is definitely an escalation. We'll have to see where it goes with this, because we just reported that the Houthis on the around the bend there said, hey, we're going to stop. We're not going to target ships and shoot at them or try and take them out. We're done for now, unless you guys amp back up the war in the Gaza Strip. But now we've got Iran seizing oil tankers. So
yeah, and that's like Fantastic Freddy's territory. When you have something like if specifically the Strait of Hormuz mentioned, everybody knows the famous video of the guy going, well, we were going to take out 7 countries in 7 years, and there would be an event like Strait of Hormuz or Strait of this, and have a boat looking like this and a boat I mean, this is like it's like it's right out of the playbook. The one thing though is we've seen this many times, time and time again before. All right, so I normally wouldn't repeat this, but somebody says, chill out, dickwad. Now, excuse my French, especially for the young ones watching, but that 90s insult, I have to say, like, that stung more than anything that the kids could come up with nowadays. So I give you at least credit for creativity. The mods, obviously, insta-ban, that kind of stuff. So, again, but I did allow it for a second just to allow everybody to see you call me that. But just that once, because I kind of inside miss the 90s. And gosh, what happened to like good old school bullying and, just the stuff we went through in childhood. Speaking of which, I want to show you guys something super awesome, and I'm like legit super, super proud. My 6-year-old daughter is taking lessons on drawing, and this is not traced. I just want to show you how proud I am of this. I just could not believe this. My 6-year, if I could put her on, and I wish I could be more public with, my family and stuff. Unfortunately, that's not how internet works. But look at this. I wonder if this can get this. Look at that. That is an alligator. And she did not trace that. I watched her do it. She did it with instructions like, do this here and watching them and then copying it. I cannot draw that well. I am absolutely blown away. She's 6 years old. Like she, you at 6, you somebody farts, you laugh. Well, at 60, somebody farts, you laugh. But you get my point. She is barely learning how to read, and she's drawing like this. I am super, super proud. She did a bumblebee, and she did some other stuff too. She did a Dalmatian, which just blew me away. I thought I brought the Dalmatian, but I just wanted to point that out. And I just wanted to show off for a minute of how awesome my kid is. All right, and if she's probably just going to watch that part with Mom, and I just want to say I love you, and I'm very, very, very proud of you. All right, and then we have U.S. lawmakers demand answers from the Trump administration over Chinese chemical shipments to Iran following CNN reporting. Remember, that was an exclusive. It always is. Dex, do you want to talk about the U.S. lawmakers and what just happened?
Yeah, so they're going after the current president to respond to the reporting that the Chinese firms are helping build those Iranian ballistic missiles. As we talked just yesterday, Iran was boasting about their missile production and being able to rebuild and prepare for this next war that they feel is coming with Israel. Politics aside, obviously the real question is, what is the intelligence sources and what are they saying about the shipments of, say, sodium perchlorate, missile propellant precursor, all coming from China to Iran and been going on since the end of September. So these shipments are indispensable to Tehran's efforts to rebuild its ballistic missile arsenal since the 12-day war with Israel. So they're questioning, what can we do to stop that? And rightfully so, I think. If China is involved in that and we're negotiating with China, then we should be putting some pressure on them. So Beijing's support for Tehran rearmament is deeply concerning and provides yet another example of the Chinese Communist Party's willingness to abet authoritarian aggression from Europe to the Middle East. And look at what they're doing in Venezuela and anywhere else where they can get a foothold or create opportunity against the West. So, no surprise China is fueling and helping Iran rebuild its missiles. I'm surprised that they're not doing more than just that because they want to have those allies. They want to have those relations. It's part of the power of the antithesis of the West, right? BRICS, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're watching this step by step. I do want quickly just to address, like, for anybody that's new, and I hope that you guys get to stick around. We've been following this for so many years, and most of us have all watched this just get worse and worse, and see play by play this unfolding, and. To somebody who is not in our world, and I say our world because I would say most of you probably agree, most of you realize we are a certain type of people. We are the people that do follow news every single day. We follow the stories. We are watching the patterns. They call us Watchmen, I guess, but we are literally watching the world burn, but we're not freaking out. We're not like super scared. There's a stigma that comes with prepping. There's a stigma that comes with everything we do here. And really, it's just predictive. We're trying to, it's almost like statistics prediction, right? Like they're looking at stats and trying to predict a result. That's all we're doing. And then we're trying to prepare the best we can for the most probable outcome. But at the same time, we're not, freaking out scared. So that's why I say the comment, if you don't like watching scary movies, don't watch scary movies. When somebody says chill out, that to me says that their reaction is like they're panicking. They're panicking because I'm saying something really scary. Where 95% of us here, I know all you guys, you're not panicking right now. You've been watching this world get lit up for 10 years or 20 years or 30 years or 50 years. So yeah, we're the watchers, and that's weird. And they've attached negative stigmas to prepping and to dooms and what do they call it? Fear mongering. But that's a media term. Once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. And once you realize that fear mongering and this tinfoil hat stuff was all made by the CIA to literally make you just a drone bee. If you're a drone bee, you need to be working and doing what they want you to do. They don't want you prepared for things because then they don't have control. If you are completely prepared and independent, think about the level of control they have over you. If you were completely independent and didn't need the grid, didn't need anything, where are they going to get money off of you? Where, if you could feed off the land, who are they going to sell meat to? Or not sell meat to you in the near future and sell you bugs, right? They won't be able to control you if you are, self-sufficient. And that is exactly what prepping's about. And I believe that is why we have such a negative stigma. So if you're just like a civilian coming in here going, oh, you guys are freaking out of nothing, it's a nothing burger. That just shows like most likely you're not following what is actually happening right now. That to me says that you're not following it close enough, at least. And I don't expect anybody to follow this as closely as we do. And I'm talking to the people that show up every single night to this show. But I would say this, if you do, I think that you would make your own connections. You wouldn't need anybody to give you an opinion about what's going on. You would have your own. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you to all the Foogle fam. I'm very proud to have you guys. And I'm just very, very thankful for everybody that is here and everybody that has subscribed and watches every single night. So thank you. Speaking of which, make sure to go check out Harvest Right. I will make this very short, but they are having their Black Friday sale, so that's kicked off. So if you have been waiting on a Harvest Right freeze dryer machine, these things are expensive. They're no joke. It's an investment. It's not going to be something for everybody, but if you have a family of 2, 3, 4, 5, this is the way to go. Yeah, freeze drying your own food is not only fun and super easy, it's like a set it and forget it, but it is also something where you are going to actually save money, and this is going to pay for itself if you are a prepper. If you're a true prepper and you're getting freeze-dried meals, no matter what kind of bulk deal of 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, a pallet, you're most likely not going to get the same deal you will as if you buy and attain your own food. You get to locate and get that food and freeze dry it yourself, or even grow that food yourself for free. That you would if you're going and buying meals, right? You can get whatever sale you can at Black Friday. It's not going to be having your own machine. The problem is that initial investment once you get that. So right now, with $1,000 off on a giant line of their machines, get them while you can, because obviously we all wait for Black Friday. Reminds me, I never watched. I hated Malcolm in the Middle, but there was a show. Have you guys, any of you, watched The Middle? I always assumed that show was much like it was Malcolm in the Middle or Attached or something. Dex, have you ever seen the show The Middle?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that show, once you're a parent and have kids, is the most relatable show. My wife, it ended up on autoplay at like 7:30 in the morning after we woke the kids up. And we took the kids to school, and both of us were just like cracking up laughing at this like late 90s, early 2000s family of how legit accurate that show is. And I saw it on TV all the time. And I never thought it was funny. Now I think it is one of the most hilarious shows ever. And it's one of those things where I was grown. I was an adult by the time that show was out, and I remember it coming out every week. I always thought it was dumb. Watching it in series of them going through like Thanksgiving and Christmas and Valentine's Day, and it was all in order in the series. That show had so many classic family moments. It was just insane, including the mom trying to work at a car dealership, and they ask her to work on Christmas or on Thanksgiving, so she can't do the dinner. So she switches stuff around, makes up a lie to get out of it, ends up screwing it up. And she misses Black Friday shopping. Black Friday shopping was, back in the day, it was like you would go fisticuffs over Elmo. And now it's kind of lame with Cyber Monday and all of that. It's not the same. It might be on some, a couple products here and there, people getting fights over a PlayStation 5 or something. But it's not like it used to be. It was a family event in itself to go to Black Friday. Did any of you guys go with your family when you were kids to Black Friday to get a toaster or to get, some sort of appliance that you never, could afford? Dex, did you go to Black Friday with your family? Did they ever do that?
Oh yeah. Ages ago, we used to, get up and go Black Friday shopping. It was the best time to get good deals, but
now it's not.
Yeah.
They literally take the damn price, and this is so lame. They take the price that they were charging 2 months ago. There's a website that tracks this. So say there's a TV that's normally $500. They have it on sale for $200 in September. It's $200, and then they rake the price up. They'll make it $350 all the way up until Black Friday, and then lower it back down to what it normally is, and then they call it Black Friday. It's super lame. And now there's websites that actually track it. So once you find out how many companies have been doing that, it's really, really infuriating, especially when that was our chance. People would wait all years to get, a serious purchase and then get it on Black Friday. You can't really do that anymore. You just have to look for the right sale. But again, why it's related, that machine is a huge investment, and it is $1,000 off right now. And then Russian military spy ship was tracked within 15 miles. Now, I'm going to show you the map. Dex, do you want to talk about this and how truly close this is to our coast?
Yeah, the U.S. Coast Guard said it detected and tracked a Russian military spy ship just miles off the coast of Hawaii. Latest incident of Russian vessel or plane operating close to the U.S. The intelligence vessel was spotted 15 miles south of Oahu.
The blue dot.
This is coming out of the Coast Guard. And yeah, we measured that out. That's approximately 15 miles. I mean, zoomed in, you may not be able to tell the distance, but when you look at the whole islands of Hawaii as collective, they were right up in there, literally off the shore, just past the horizon. The Coast Guard, which released a photo of the ship, said it's still tracking the vessel's movement near the U.S. waters to provide maritime security for the U.S. vessel operating in an area and to support the U.S. Homeland Defense efforts. So, yeah, pretty close encounter there as far as, and who knows what they were looking for, what they were tracking, obviously getting military information off of the islands and what ships we have there. And I would assume they're probably working their way around all of the islands, but in particular Pearl Harbor area, which would probably be most important to them.
I have to read this comment. Digital Revolution says, how is Black Friday not racist? I don't actually. You just made me think. Like, I don't know why they started calling it Black Friday. Dex, do you know why?
Because it's the month that retail businesses turn from red to black. In the ink in accounting, when you're not making money and you're lost, you're in the red. And then when you start to make a profit, you go into the black. And Black Friday, because retailers sell so much products, it's been traditionally the time period in which a retail business moves from negative to profitable. And they only have
so no relevance to us as a customer. You would think they would say Red Friday, because that would give us the impression, they're going in the negative to give us these prices. But instead they're like, yeah, we're raking in cash today. This is our, Black Friday. This is when we get all of our money. Somebody said, hell no, I wouldn't sit in the middle of the night and wait for a toaster. Well, one thing is back then, it would be a $50, $60 toaster and you would get it for $10. especially the frugal and people that were really trying to get by with multiple kids, it's like that might be your one chance to go down the street to the same place you normally go and get something like that, something that's going to last forever for, $10. Mind you, they used to make everything better.
TVs. Yeah, we used to get great deals on TVs. I mean, I know TVs are
before China
nuts now, but but back in the day, Black Friday sale and I'm talking tube TVs back in the day. I remember
put your new one on top of your old one TVs.
Yeah, I remember going Black Friday just to get that TV deal because it was a good deal.
Yeah, that's the only thing we've ever bought on Black Friday. It was 7 years ago when we first bought our big screen. Back then, it was a 75-inch TV, which was huge, and it was like $550. And for how many years it's got us through? I mean, it's not up to date now. It's like everybody has 4K or 8K or 11K marathon run, but we do just fine. Our kids watching YouTube and watching Netflix on it. But yeah, those Black Friday deals are freaking awesome, or they were for TVs. Now we're just used to the cheap TVs because you can get a $100 50-inch TV or whatever for Black Friday. That's not much. I don't even think that loses them money with how they make them in China. Like all of these Chinese brands, most definitely they've gotten better, but they are crap compared to like if you do spend the money. But then even then, you see a TV this year will be $4,000 for the newest tech. Next year will be $2,000. 2 or 3 years, you've got like $350 TV, and it's like, how the hell did they charge $400,000 to some schmuck in the first place? It's all because people want to keep up with the Joneses and have that new tech, the new gimmick first before anybody else. So when people come over to their house and be like, look at that, mine glows and it does your dishes and it flies. And I'm like, whoa, how'd your TV do that? Like, whoa, that's crazy. I've never seen a TV fly. Oh, crap, it flew out the window. Now I got to go buy a $350 TV because I'm broke. That was kind of a very specific situation, but you guys get the drift. Dex, thank you so much for all your service tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
Thank you, Domenico Luvara. Thank you, Rochelle Cooley. I believe you are a top supporter tonight. Thank you for gifting out 5 badges. And thank you for being a member for 24 months. 2 years. You just hit 2 years. That's awesome. Says, I love my family. Stephen McMahon, can't stay up. Still love y'all. I hopefully you watch the replay on this one, especially. Tosha, and then James Zippy Moons Washington. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Thank you, everybody that supported tonight. Thank you for our mods supporting us in chat. Chance, sorry if I caused you mods any problems there. Just so we are clear, mod is not an acceptable insult. But I don't know. If you can get away with something that your 90s teacher... how about this? We'll say if your 90s teacher couldn't figure out if it was an insult or not, then you can call me it. So yeah, if it's like, I don't know. You guys, I'm kind of okay with you guys calling me a dillweed, right? But be nice about it. If you're not nice, they'll still ban you anyways. So have a good night, guys. Thank you so much. Again, thank you, Dex. So much thanks. And then, yeah, it is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. All right. Be safe. Be prepared. Dillweed out. Saying thank you to Rochelle Cooley, Domenico Luvara, Tosha, and James. We'll see you over on Jams. We'll be singing thank you to Rochelle Cooley and the rest of the fam.